That would definitely be a mess. Thank you. Okay. Alright. Thank you very much. Let me ask you this question. By a show of hands, how many of you have experienced at least one mess in your life? At least one. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, keep those hands up. How many of you have experienced a mess that you yourself created? Thank you for being so honest. As Michael Lopez said, honesty is very important. It's not strategic. It's not sometimes very helpful for our progress, but it's the truth, and it's important. So in the next 30-35 minutes, I would like us, I am not a speaker here, I would like to facilitate conversations amongst us with just a few points that will help you to go along the way. I created a mess today. I thought 300 was enough. I forgot how huge District 75 conferences are. Give yourself a big hand. Yes. So if you see that there are those little pieces of paper on your tables that are folded that say make your mess your message, and you're like, there aren't enough. Sorry, my mess. I only photocopied, produced 300. Benz did his job, he said 350. Benz, I'm sorry, wherever you are. I thought, okay, he's just kind of, being sigurista ba. So I thought, pwede na ng 300. I found out I'm wrong. So I apologize. My bad. Not the DisCon Cebu. My bad, I only produced 300. I can always email or Facebook you later on that material. But you can follow along here. So, the first thing that I realized, whenever you're in a mess, try and find the meaning in that mess. What is this saying to me? What is this mess trying to communicate? Some of you may have read this little tiny book several years ago by Dr. Sherry Scott. It was called If Life is a Game, Here Are the Rules. One of the things that she said is, if you don't learn your lesson, that lesson will repeat itself. And it will constantly repeat itself until you learn it. I cannot count the times when I'm back talking to myself, talking to the mirror, talking to my poor daughter here who probably wants to put on earplugs sometimes, and I go, kind of admitting, I need to learn this lesson. We won't go there, but if you can interview her later on, she will be very candid, she'll be very honest about some of the messes that I've been into. But you need to find a meaning in it. And then, rather than wallow in that mess, try and use your experience to encourage and to empower others as well as yourself. That turns the mess from being a nasty, humongous, like several of the speeches this afternoon. They did it. They turned their mess around and they used it to encourage themselves. They used it to motivate others. So I'm not telling you this, you know this. When you have a mess, turn it around, use it for good. And then, seek and welcome support, which is very difficult because when we are in a mess, what do we want to do? We want to hunker down, right? We get into this trench mindset and we say, ay nalagok sa mukha ko, ay nalagok mo dire, basta biyain na lang po ninyo dire. Diba? I'm sorry, translation for Mike, Leslie, and our friends from Luzon. We say, it's harder man to language it, no? But anyway, we say, how do we say that? Leave me alone. Don't bother me. Just let me be. does not work. I know. I asked Dinah Loomis, I really wanted her to be here because this next line will be talking about her and me. How many of you know Dinah Loomis? DTM, Dinah Loomis. Oh, only? Wow, she needs to come more often to Toastmasters. She's the lady with the hat. She was past district governor. Help me, 1990 something, right? Dinah Loomis. Dina, sorry. Okay, Americanized man. Okay, Dina Loomis. Dina Santos Loomis. Now you know, how many of you know her? Okay, she owns and manages, what is it called? Southeast Asia Speakers Bureau. I owned and managed the WLF Training for Development Center. So we were actually competitors. We were friendly competitors, but we were competitors. Back in 1995, I had what was probably, there was one more, but I can share it because, you know, to protect the identities of the guilty. I cannot share, I had another mess that was bigger. But this was probably one of my biggest messes. I brought Andrew Matthews, the author of Being Happy, Making Friends. I loved him. I brought him to the Philippines. He's Australian, by the way. Andrew Matthews from Adelaide, Australia. I brought him over. He was good. I don't blame him. It was my fault. I marketed incorrectly. I booked him at the Mandarin Oriental, Matthews at the Mandarin in Manila. Sounds good, right? But wrong audience. His audience were younger people who could not afford the Mandarin. So at the end of the day, the night before the big event, I had no money to pay him. And his business manager, also happened to be his wife, called up in a very clipped accent. I don't know why it was British when she was in Australia. She was actually Malaysian. Maybe that's the reason, yeah. Malaysia was under the Brits. She goes, Michelle, we are here at the Mandarin. Tomorrow, we shall go up on stage and greet the audience and then say that we are leaving, we are not going to deliver because Michelle, the managing director of WLF Development Center, failed to pay us our professional fees, which was $5,200. That's just $2,000 or $200 over the spa thing, right? The problem is it was US dollars. So that was big difference, big difference. So here I am, I'm in my office late at night. I actually also sought support from, and bear with me, those who really believe, who've never doubted. I doubted back then, so I was like, okay God, I need help. Now, if you're there, don't ask me what help, because you should know, right? You're supposed to be all-knowing, you should know. So I was even combative, I was defiant. I was like, prove me, prove that you're there. And then I kind of dozed off. And I walk up to hear the phone ringing at about 11 at night. And if you know Dinah Loomis, you know she's got this really beautiful voice. I wish you were here so you could demonstrate. You know, right? So I pick up the phone and I hear this. Hi, Michelle. This is Dinah. How are you? How am I? I'm right ready to die, just trying to figure out how to cash in my life insurance. And so she kind of asked me questions. And honestly, I was annoyed. Why are you nosing into my business, right? Just leave me here, remember? Just leave me here to die or to feel bad and all that. But she kept on asking. And despite my annoyance of being asked, I kind of welcomed grudgingly kind of the questions. I kind of answered. She found out it was $5,000 US, $5,200. She found out I had no jewelry, nothing. Still don't have jewelry. So she knew I had nothing to pawn, nothing. And then this may not be the exact words, but you can ask Dinah. She said, well, would the Matthews accept it if it was somebody else's check? And I'm like, sure, if somebody would be willing to write a check, I'm sure they wouldn't mind accepting it. And then she said, you know, Brooks and I are not really rich, but we have some savings. We will write that check for you. We will give the Matthews that check. Just rest, you don't have to worry, we will be there tomorrow. Amazing, right? Nothing, no contract, nothing. Just helping out, support. So in your darkest